Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Good day. My name is Veronica Bjorkman, and I'm the Director of Family Outreach and Support here at Columbia. We are so happy and excited that you were able to join us for our last webinar of the 2023 Summer Webinar Series. We were thrilled to collaborate and co-host this year's webinar series with our colleagues in the Office of Undergraduate Student Life. We have enjoyed hosting you in July and August, and today's webinar is for first-year move-in for families. And next Friday at 10 a.m., we will host a special webinar about move-in just for transfer and combined plan students and families. These webinars lead up to the new student orientation program known as NSOP and family orientation, which we're going to talk about today. A few housekeeping items before we begin. The information discussed in today and throughout our webinars is specific to undergraduate students in Columbia College, Columbia Engineering, and their families. Our panelists will present for about 30 to 40 minutes, and we will leave time at the end for questions. In the Zoom webinar platform, you may ask a question via the Q&A submission box. Given the large number of participants in today's webinar, unfortunately, we will not be able to answer every question, but if you still have a question, we want you to reach out. And we are also recording this webinar for families who could not make it, and it will be available on our YouTube channel in a few days at Family at Columbia. So now I'm going to go over today's agenda. First, we're going to start out with some introductions. Then we're going to talk about wellness and what you need to do to prepare for your arrival, the actual move-in process, our family orientation programming schedule, which I know a lot of you have been asking about, convocation, and then at the end, we'll have some time for questions. So let's get started. Joining us today from the Office of Undergraduate Student Life is a surprise guest because my friend Nestor had a last-minute obligation, and so I'm going to let Miss Marnie introduce herself.
Hi all, I'm Marnie Whalen-Tarini, I use she and her pronouns, and I'm Director of Orientation, Community Programming, and Student Engagement. I work with Nestor on the orientation program. Nestor's unable to join us today, but I'm here representing undergraduate student life. Good morning.
Good morning, Marnie. Thanks for joining us. I would also like to welcome our Administrative Coordinator for the Office of Student and Family Support, Joanne Hill. Good morning, Joanne.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm going to be putting a lot of links in the chat. You can copy and paste them or take a picture or do nothing and know that they are going to be available on the recording of this webinar, which will probably be up Monday afternoon.
And our Associate Dean of Student and Family Support, Matthew Potashnik. Good morning, Matthew.
Good morning, Veronica. Good morning, everyone. It's so great to be with all of you with just over a week to go.
Yes. And now I would like to welcome our special guest panelists. Joining us today is Jennifer Menhisi, the Director of the Director of Guest Services for Columbia Housing. Good morning, Jennifer.
Good morning. Hi, everyone. We're looking forward to welcoming you all to campus.
And the Assistant Director for Student Wellness in the Office of Student and Family Support, Crystal Diaz. Hi, Crystal.
Morning, everyone. Excited to see you all at Move-In.
And last but certainly not least, our Assistant Dean of Student Wellness in the Office of Student and Family Support, Stephanie King. Good morning, Stephanie.
Good morning, Veronica, and good morning, families. We look forward to meeting you on Sunday.
Awesome. All right. Well, now I'm going to pass it over to Stephanie and Crystal to talk about some wellness.
Thank you. We just wanted to take a moment to introduce ourselves and our office. We sit in the Student and Family Support Office. We work with students and connecting them to resources on campus when things arise. We also work with all of the various offices on campus just to make sure the students experience and they're tapping into all the many resources we have here. We know the beginning of college is a significant transition for students, but also their families. And whether this is your first student leaving home or your third, starting college comes with adjustments for the whole family. We encourage you to think about this transition from your own personal perspective and what that may mean for your household. At times, children, we know, can be all-consuming, and this move is these last few weeks are probably taking over your life. And we do look forward to you being actively involved in your students' Columbia journey, but we also know that this transition may leave you with space to rediscover yourself. Additionally, this move has probably caused some stress. There's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot of planning involved. Hopefully today's presentation will help reduce this stress. but we want you to take time out for yourself, support yourselves, and be prepared for this next transition and any feelings that may arise. It's an exciting time filled with mixed emotions, and that is okay. And I want to pass it over to Crystal now, who can talk more about what you can do to support yourselves.
Good morning, everyone. I usually work with student wellness with students, but today I have the opportunity to kind of talk about wellness in terms of families and move-in. Move-in is a little bit of a stressful time when it comes to the actual process of getting on a plane, getting in a car, moving all of the boxes. It's overwhelming. It might be the last time you see your student for a little bit of time. So we have a small list to just encourage you to make sure you take care of yourself. So a few of the ways that you can do that is in that moment of transition, you can talk to your student and say, hey, I'm going to miss you a lot. Why don't we have some scheduled check-ins just so that I know that you're okay, maybe once a week, maybe even once a day. This is also a time for you, maybe it's your first student leaving home, your only student leaving home, your last student leaving home. It might be a good time to rediscover or invest some more time in your hobbies because you will have a little bit more time now. It's also a really good time to remind yourself, especially in this last week, to take care of yourself physically. So make sure you're drinking enough water, make sure you're eating right, make sure you're getting as much sleep as you possibly can. You're going to need it for moving. It's also a really good time to reach out to a trusted friend, a family member, or a therapist, even if you're feeling really excited. It's just good to kind of share what your feelings and emotions at this moment are with someone else. And moving is, it's an overwhelming experience. So reassure yourself that it's okay to feel sad. If in that last moment when you hug your student, you shed a tear or two, it's absolutely fine. It happens to everyone. And if you don't feel sad, that's okay too. And the last, and certainly not least, the biggest tip that I always give everyone is, in these moments of overwhelm or excitement or just intense emotions, it's a really, really good time to practice mindfulness. It's something that I encourage onto all of my students. And I just want to take 1 minute so that you all have a mindfulness tool that you can use during the move-in process. It will literally take 60 seconds of your time. If you don't want to participate, absolutely okay. Just go chill, do something else. But if you're sitting up, if you're standing, in whatever position you find yourself, just take a moment to close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. Hold it for a moment or two. And let it out. Take another deep breath in. Hold it for a moment and let it out. Now in this moment, notice if you have any tension, maybe in your neck, in your shoulders, maybe your breathing has been a little bit shallow, maybe your lower back, maybe you feel really good. Just take a moment to notice your body, notice your feet on the ground if your feet are touching the ground, your body on the chair if you're sitting on a chair. Maybe you want to clasp your hands together and see how that feels in your hands. Now take another deep breath in. And if you have any tension in your body, with this next breath out, see if you can release even 5% of that tension. Now just take a moment while your eyes are closed to thank yourself for taking the time out today, for your student. If you are the student, be excited and thank yourself for everything that you've done up until this point. And during the move-in process, if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, if you're having a moment of tension, this is a really quick exercise that you can use, just taking a few deep breaths in, holding it, letting it out, seeing if there's any tension in your body, seeing if you can release that tension, even if it's only 5%. Super helpful way to just kind of alleviate a little bit of the stress that might be going on during move-in. Thank you so much for taking a minute of mindfulness with us. And now I'm going to hand it back over to Stephanie King.
Thank you, Crystal. That was so helpful. We will all be on campus next week, Sunday, to help you check in, help your students. And if anything arises, we will be there to support you. And we're going to continue to support you as the entire family and your student while they're on this Columbia journey. Now I want to introduce you to my colleague, Matthew Potashnik.
Thanks, Stephanie, and thank you, Crystal. That was a great way to start my day. We are so excited to welcome you to campus, and we've been doing this a really long time, and we have some helpful information to ease both the physical journey, but also the intellectual and individual journey that you and your students are about to embark on. Our office, Student and Family Support, is really going to be here for you with all of our colleagues in undergraduate student life, in Columbia Housing, and all the offices across campus to make this transition and this move to campus as easy and supportive as possible. We're going to stay connected to you. We're going to stay in communication with you throughout with Veronica and with the team in our student wellness office, Crystal and Stephanie. We will be there to support you and your student through any road bumps that come up. And we are going to be there to welcome you back to campus in October for Family Weekend and all sorts of opportunities all throughout. But this is a time of change and transition. And so one of the things that I think is really helpful to do in these final few days while you are together as a family is to think about how high school is different than college. And that is an important way to begin thinking about this journey. One of the most important things to think about is time management. There's about 168 hours in a week, if I'm doing my math correct. And most students will be registered for about 15 or 16 credit hours a semester. That translates to about 15 to 20 hours in class. And so start thinking about how you're going to spend the time outside of class. The structure of the college environment is very different than high school. The curriculum is very different than high school. But there's a lot of people that are here to support you in this transition. And we just want you to think about the sort of differences between college and high school, because they are very noticeable. And part of the reason why we have such an incredible NSOP experience that spans multiple days is to prepare you for all of these transitions. And so one of the most important things to do is not to think about Columbia as the 13th grade. This is really the start of a new intellectual and academic experience for you in an incredible academic community where you will be challenged, where it's not always supposed to be easy, but the intellectual rigor should be stimulating and exciting. And if you ever find yourself in a situation where you are challenged, know that there's a whole team of people that are there to help you. One of the most important things that students and families should be doing at this time is thinking about a communications plan. So for most of our students, you're physically leaving your family's home for the first time. And as Crystal and Stephanie alluded to earlier, you're not going to be living in the same roof, which means you are not going to be sharing a meal together every day and talking about your day. You're going to have to build in some time to talk about things that are happening in your life. So we really do encourage students and families to set up a communications plan. How often do you want to be talking? Is it every day? Is it once a week with a FaceTime? Is it on a group text? Is it through social media? Whatever it is, think about your communications plan now, but be flexible with it. Students' schedules suddenly shift, and someone who was always an early to bed person may suddenly find themselves really excited to be engaging in some of the nightlife on campus and in the city. Time zones are complicated realities for a lot of our families as well. So just think about, how do you want to stay in touch with each other? There's also some really great discounts for cell phones and computers and mobile phone plans that are available to Columbia students. So if you're still looking for some of those technologies and tools, we have some great options for you as well to help enable your ongoing communication as a family. But with communications, it's also important to think about some of the limitations. So Columbia is bound by a federal law called FERPA, which stands for the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act. It's a law that was enacted in 1974, and it governs the privacy of student records. Items like grades are only released directly to the student at the end of every semester. As parents and families, we know you probably are curious about your students' academic performance. So one of the things that you should start talking about now is, how do you want to have access to student grades and information? Professors are very different than high school teachers. There is not a parent portal where you can track weekly progress and see homework and other things. For many of our classes, the only indication of a student's performance is the final grade that's issued at the end of the semester. That doesn't mean that students aren't aware of their performance and are working individually with faculty members to understand how they're making academic progress in a particular class. But it's important for you as a parent or family member to work directly with your student to express how do you want to be kept informed about their academic performance. Faculty will always reach out and work with us if they are concerned about a student's performance. We will do our best to intervene and provide resources and support as quickly as possible. But it is important for you to make sure that your preferences are known and in conversation with your student. How do you want to be kept informed? We will share some links about FERPA for parents and just general expectations about the privacy of student records. Also know that information about health records is separate. Health records are not governed by FERPA. Health records in the United States, including at a college health center, are governed by HIPAA, and we'll share some information in the chat about the health center and ways that parents and families can be supported in the health center. Our office, student and family support, is also always there to provide guidance or information if you have questions or you're worried about your student. We have spent an incredible amount of time this summer teaching you, talking with you, and introducing you to the many resources that exist on campus. Please continue to engage with these resources. And for students that are arriving on campus for NSOP, go to the NSOP programs. While we say they are mandatory, it is mandatory because we want you to be safe, we want you to be successful, and we want you to meet all of the different people that are going to be there to support you. So be participatory, be present, go to these programs. For parents and families, we are going to leave these webinars up and online so that you can refer back to them. If you have a question about how to access a resource, don't hesitate to reach out. Veronica and Joanne and I are always available, and we will get you connected to these resources as quickly as possible. And the same goes for students. Even if there's an early morning NSOP program, we think it's important. So make sure you get up, get yourself a cup of tea or coffee, practice some of those mindful exercises that Crystal led us in, and get yourself to those sessions because it's going to be super important. Tied to this is this concept of asking for help. College is a time of transition. It's for a change for students, it's a change for families, and we never ever want someone to feel uncomfortable asking for help. It is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. All of the people that are on this Zoom today are here to help. There's an incredible student support network that spans offices and individuals across all of our campuses, across our academic units and student support offices. Please ask for help. If ever you're encountering a difficulty in the classroom, in your residence hall environment, on campus, in your personal academic or wellness journey, there is a team of people that are here to help. Parents and families, you can always reach out to us. Let us know if you are concerned. Students, if you are worried about yourself, a friend, a roommate, or another member of our community, reach out and ask for help. There's a whole team of people on call 24 hours a day to provide guidance, care, and support to students experiencing any number of personal issues or challenges. So please let us know how we can be helpful. The other thing that is sort of funny when you join a new community is suddenly you're going to find yourself immersed in a language that may be a little bit unfamiliar to you. I have worked at Columbia for about 14 years now, and I'm pretty bilingual in the Columbia language, but all of you are joining our community for the first time. And so there are going to be words and phrases and colloquial expressions that don't make any sense to you. During our webinars, during our orientation, during move-in, we will do our best to use common language and help introduce you to the key terms. And let us know, though, if something we're saying doesn't make sense. When your student comes to visit you for one of the break periods, or you come back to campus in October, you're probably going to be confused by some of the things that your student is saying, and that's because they are learning the Columbia campus traditions and the language that we speak that's all our own, and that's pretty exciting because it means they're finding their way forward. But we're going to do our best to make sure you understand everything that we're saying because it's really, really important. One other sort of helpful tip of information is verify what you are reading online. I know that there's a lot of different student groups on social media, parent and family groups on social media, many of which are unofficial and independently run and operated. We just want to caution you that the information that exists on some of these sites, it may not be 100% accurate. They are great for community building. They are great for quick tips and information. But if you have an actual legitimate question, it's always good to check in with the source. So we are there to help if you have a question. Also know that Columbia is a big, complicated, decentralized university with students who are graduate students, undergraduate students, living, working, and studying on multiple different campuses. And so sometimes information may apply in a limited context to a specific student in a specific school with a specific type of housing or academic level. And so if you are ever questioning information that you see in one of these groups and it doesn't seem to make sense, you can always check in with us. The other thing about technology and the use of technology for students in particular, we are seeing an incredible rise in artificial intelligence. And I know many of you as students are going through your online tutorials to get ready for the start of the school year. Same caution here. Be very careful with how you're using technology because many of our professors have some very specific expectations about its use or non-use. So the same sort of rules apply here. If you have a question about something on technology, make sure you're asking whether it's appropriate or not. And just be mindful, and I know this comes up quite a bit in some of our social media sites, particularly with parents and families, be mindful about what you're putting in there with personally identifiable information, where your students are living, room numbers, floor numbers. We can't verify all of the members of these social media sites because they're unofficial channels. And so just be very mindful about the type of information you're sharing on social media because we want to make sure that we're keeping and helping to keep our community safe. So the final thing is sleep. Jen is going to be up in a moment to talk about the move to campus, but we want you physically and sort of energetic and ready to make this move to campus. And of all the things that you can do to take care of yourself, to eat well, the single most important thing is to sleep. And there's a really cool tool on the Columbia Health website with sleep resources and a sleep assessment that students and families can take. I really encourage you all to do this because we want you to be fully participatory during NSOP. Marnie wants you to attend all of the NSOP programs, including the morning ones. So in order to do that, you need to take care of yourselves, to sleep well. For parents and families, we want you to be energetic and enthusiastic as well. So take care of yourselves, get some good sleep because Jen is up and she's going to talk about the physical journey to Morningside Heights.
Thank you, Matthew. Hi, families. We are so excited that it's almost time to welcome you to campus. Here are some important dates you should know. Bag drop is on Saturday, August 26th. International student check-in is on Saturday, August 26th, and domestic student check-in is on Sunday, August 27th. Please be aware that bag drop day is available only to students who have received approval and confirmation from Columbia Housing. Confirmation was sent to students in their room assignment email at the end of June. Students can also confirm their status in the housing portal by going to the move-in information tab. We know that it's a very popular option, but we are not available to offer bag drop participation to more students at this time. We partner with a logistics company to facilitate the move-in process and to determine the number of students who can participate in bag drop. This ensures a positive experience for everyone on both Saturday and Sunday. And now we're going to move on to what to expect at bag drop. The process for bag drop and check-in are very similar. Students should start by arriving at their assigned time. Again, this information can be found in the move-in information tab in the housing portal. Move-in is a complex logistical process, and so we will adhere strictly to arrival times. If you arrive before or after the assigned time, you may have to wait a bit before you can move in, so please stick to the assigned time as closely as possible. Then you're going to go to the building's unload zone. This is where you can temporarily park your car to unload your items. Moving bins and support will be available at these locations, and in the next few slides, I'll go over where you can find information about your unload zone. Go to your assigned welcome station. The welcome station will be staffed by the residential life team who will provide instructions on how to access your room. Welcome station locations vary by building. And then you're going to go to your building and room to unpack. Bag drop ends promptly at 4 p.m. At that time, you will need to vacate the building and students cannot stay overnight. Very important is to return on Sunday for formal check-in. Formal check-in is when your student will officially become a resident of Columbia Housing and will receive their university ID card. And then make sure to your student will want to complete the check-in survey and room condition report in the housing portal. This will both of these will become available once your student has checked in. The room condition report records the conditions of the room and furniture at the time of check-in. It serves as the basis for any damages made during occupancy, and it is mandatory and must be completed within 48 hours of check-in. Failure to complete the room condition report makes a resident ineligible to contest any damage charges upon checkout, so it's important to not skip this step. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about what to expect at check-in. So as you can see, the check-in day process is very similar to the bag drop process. All students need to complete check-in. You should plan to arrive at the assigned time, which can be checked in the housing portal, then proceed to your unload zone check-in station and room. Students who participated in bag drop on Saturday should plan to start this process at step 3. And we recommend that you complete the check-in survey and room condition report before you unpack and settle in. It's important to follow your building's arrival instructions. Every building has a different set of instructions, and every residence hall has a designated unload zone. So this applies to anyone arriving by car, either in your own car or by taxi or rideshare app. You can find all of this information on our website. I encourage you to review the page specific to your building, which includes a video showing the step-by-step arrival process. If you're arriving by public transportation, you can go to the unload zone on foot. And now I'm going to go over some important move-in reminders. We want you to have the best move-in experience possible. Here are recommendations for a smooth arrival. Arrive at your assigned time. This is so important to make sure you don't experience any delays. As I said earlier, move-in is a large-scale logistical operation. Arriving at your assigned time helps us make sure everything is moving at the appropriate pace. Make a parking plan. If you are arriving in your own car or a rental car, you will need to find parking in the immediate area once you finish unloading. And this is New York City, so street parking isn't always available. Plus, a few surrounding streets will be closed for parking to facilitate move-in. You can check our website for a list of local garage options. Your students should be prepared to show their Lion Pass. The Lion Pass is a digital document that lists arrival time, room, and building number, and it will be available in the housing portal starting on August 23rd. Your student will receive an email once it's ready. On the day of your arrival, staff may ask to see it to confirm this information. So we recommend that it's saved as a screenshot to your phone before arriving on campus. With the increased number of visitors on campus, Wi-Fi and cellular service may be slow. Another reminder that we want to mention is the Student Mail Center will be closed on Saturday and Sunday. You can find their hours of operation on their website. And elevators are reserved for use by the vendor, and families will be prompted to take the stairs. If there's someone in your party that requires the use of the elevator, please let a professional staff member know in the lobby of the building. And so I also want to share some important reminders specific to bag drop. Each student is limited to 2 guests for bag drop. Bag drop ends at 4 p.m. and at that time, students and families need to vacate the building. Remember, bag drop day is the day to move all belongings into the residence hall, but not your student. They still need to check in on Sunday. Staying overnight is not permitted. If you bring more items on Sunday, you will need to carry them up the stairs. So please plan to bring all of your belongings on Saturday. And then lastly, I'm going to go over some of our check-in resources and information. The best resource for check-in information is our website. We have a dedicated page for first-year check-in that serves as the hub for everything and anything related to Columbia Housing check-in. You can find a step-by-step overview of what to expect, arrival instructions for each building, information about our services, the residence halls, parking garage locations, and more. We also post copies of all the emails we send out related to check-in, so family, you can see an exact copy of the messages your student has received from us so far. Another great resource is the Columbia Housing Portal. In the portal, students can find their room assignment and arrival times. The portal is uni protected, so only students will be able to log in. I would also recommend that you follow us on social media. We're on Instagram at Columbia Housing and Facebook at Columbia University Housing. We post check-in FAQs, arrival tips, and links to resources. This is a great way for both students and families to learn about housing as we continue to post about our processes throughout the year. You can thank me when room selection begins. Finally, if you have questions, please contact the Hartley Hospitality Desk. The desk is staffed 24/7 during academic periods, and it's a great resource for our students. Thank you so much for your time today. The housing team is really excited to meet all of you. Now I'm going to pass to my colleague, Veronica, who will talk about the family orientation schedule.
Thank you so much, Jen. So let's chat about our programming schedule. Please note that approved international students and families will check in on Saturday, August 26th from 2 to 6 p.m. in Roone Artledge Auditorium in Alfred Lerner Hall. A dinner for first-year international students and families will also occur from 4 to 6 p.m. in the same location with an RSVP required. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, let's talk about family orientation. This is going to occur on Sunday, August 27th. Events will begin at 7 a.m. and will run throughout the day into the evening. Family orientation is very much a choose your own adventure type of day. In other words, we understand there will be many things going on and many moving pieces, such as your student moving into the residence hall. And so we want you to decide the sessions that work best for your schedule, meaning that you don't have to go to all of them if you don't want to. Some sessions may be more popular than others, and our seating is first come, first served. So if we do hit capacity, we are going to be unable to accommodate everyone. But if that happens, that'll give you a little extra time to grab a coffee, use the restroom, make a phone call, or relax for a bit. Now let's go over the schedule for family orientation. Starting off your day, there'll be a continental breakfast from 7 to 9 in the hospitality tent on Hamilton Lawn. Come get yourself a coffee or tea and grab something good to eat so you can be energized for your exciting day. Family orientation check-in will be at the tents on Butler Lawn. Staff will be available from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. to assist you with check-in, questions, and point you in the right direction. And when you arrive, you'll receive your name badge, some fun Columbia swag, and a printed schedule for the day. Our first session of the day will be our campus resource panel from 9 to 9:50 a.m. at Lecture Hall 301 and Pulitzer Hall. Come learn about campus resources for students, including counseling and psychological services, campus safety, student and family support, and how they all work together to support students as they successfully navigate Columbia and New York City. After that, our colleagues from the Undergraduate Student Life will present the session Multicultural Affairs 101 from 10 to 10:50 a.m. in room 555 in Alfred Lerner Hall. Come learn more about the great things the Office of Multicultural Affairs has to offer. From 11 to 11:50 a.m., you will be able to enjoy a lecture from Columbia College and Roone Artledge Cinema in Alfred Lerner Hall, or a Columbia Engineering lecture in room 301 in Pulitzer Hall. This will be a wonderful time to get a feel for the education that your student will be taking part in this fall. And from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., we will take a break from sessions so that you can enjoy a family luncheon with your student and other first-year families in the hospitality tent on Hamilton Lawn. Please remember to bring your name badge when you enter the tent. We will begin back in the afternoon with a panel called Beyond the Classroom from our colleagues in the Center for Career Education, Undergraduate Research and Fellowships, and the Center for Undergraduate Global Engagement from 1 to 1:50 p.m. in room 301 in Pulitzer Hall. Come learn how our colleagues will partner with students throughout their time at Columbia. They will cover how students can incorporate an internship or an overseas experience into their time at Columbia, including study abroad and fellowship opportunities. They will discuss how these opportunities can enhance a student's academic experience. From 2 to 2:50 p.m., you'll have another opportunity to enjoy more lectures from Columbia College in Roone Artledge Cinema in Alfred Lerner Hall, or Columbia Engineering in Lecture Hall 301 in Pulitzer. Again, this is an awesome opportunity to get a feel for the education your student is receiving. After that, we will hear from our colleagues in the James H. and Christine Turk Barrick Center for Student Advising, and they will present from 3 to 3:50 in room 555 in Alfred Lerner Hall. Come learn about how the Center for Student Advising supports students through one-on-one advising conversations and advising programs by connecting students with academic and non-academic opportunities and resources at Columbia and beyond. At 4 p.m., our colleagues in religious life will be hosting a meet and greet. Come learn about how religious life, come meet some of the religious life staff and learn more about the faith communities you can become a part of here on Columbia's campus. From 4 to 6 p.m., enjoy a dinner with your student and other first-year families in the hospitality tent on Hamilton Lawn. Again, please remember to bring your name badge when you enter the tent. And the final event, perhaps the most magical, is Convocation, which begins at 6:30 p.m. on Low Plaza. And I'm going to have Matthew explain more about this spectacular event.
All right, thanks, Veronica. So Convocation is truly one of the highlights of my academic year. It's something that I always look forward to because it is the symbolic start of our journey together. So I always like to think about Convocation as a bookend event to graduation. At graduation, we are sending students off into the world using all of the knowledge, tools, and skills they've amassed during their 4 years of study at Columbia. But at Convocation, we're actually welcoming them and you, parents and families, into our academic community. So this is an incredible moment where students and families will sit together under the big tent that's up on Low Plaza, and it will be full of pomp and circumstance. Our orientation leaders and undergraduate RAs will get the crowd excited. They'll sort of serve as hype men and women and people to sort of get the crowd excited. You do not need to get dressed up. We know that it's a day where you will have been busy moving your student into their rooms. So come as you are, be comfortable. You can see in this photo from last year that you do not need to get dressed up. T-shirts, sneakers, all of those are fine, especially if it's a warm day. We want you to be comfortable. You'll come, you'll sit together as a family. For those students who are traveling without families, we will do our best to get all of them together so that they will be with a fun group and then get to experience Convocation together. We will also be live streaming it. So for those of you that are unable to attend in person, or for extended family and friends who want to relish in this moment together, we'll send you all the link in our next week's email so that you can bookmark our direct link for the Convocation ceremony. But what is Convocation? It is the official academic welcome to the community. And so once you're seated and all the students are in, we will do an academic procession, which includes the deans, the new president of the university, faculty, alumni, and some of the senior staff. Be nice to us because we are going to be in our academic robes, which do not provide a lot of ventilation, but you'll get to experience a little bit of the pomp and circumstance that makes being a part of Columbia such an amazing experience. You'll hear from the deans, you'll hear from the president, from members of our alumni community. Students will get a few surprises along the way. But one of the highlights is sort of the opportunity to be together in community. In fact, this is the only time we will all be together like this for 4 years until we're all back on roughly the same spot in 4 years for university commencement. Immediately following the exciting conclusion of Convocation, we actually build in a time to say farewell for now. This is the moment where students and families will actually say their farewells for now. Because shortly after the Convocation experience ends, students will go off to meet with orientation groups, residence hall floor communities, and immediately begin the orientation experience. You should know that it is an important part of our philosophy that students and families take this opportunity to say farewell, because it is an important way for students to make immediate connections and feel safe and supported in their new home by being with other students. But along those lines, if there are students in this chat, please remember that this is a moment of saying farewell to your families. And so there may be some tears, there may be a lot of hugs and kisses, there may be lots of requests for awkward photos. In the farewell for now period, embrace it all. If your parents want to take 35 different pictures, take 35 different pictures. Let everyone relish and savor in this moment because it is truly spectacular. It is a beautiful ceremony that you will talk about for the rest of your life. And it is such an incredible way to cap off the family orientation experience and for students to officially begin their NSOP experience. So we hope to see you all there either in person or online.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Matthew. I really appreciate you explaining about our exciting day. I know I'm certainly excited. It looks like we do have some questions coming in. And so we're going to begin with the family orientation programming schedule. Just a clarification, Matthew. There are 2 Columbia College and 2 Columbia Engineering lectures. Are those the same lectures or are they different folks and different topics?
They are different folks and different topics. We have an incredible number of faculty, and we want to introduce you to as many different faculty as possible. So you will get to hear from a variety of different faculty members, and we will invite more faculty members to join us in October for Family Weekend. The details about that, which will be shared soon. But again, come hear from as many different faculty and staff from across campus to help round out your knowledge and information about Columbia.
Okay. This is a question for Marnie. When will we get the complete NSOP schedule and the Lion Pass? Can you speak a little bit more about that?
I can talk to the NSOP schedule and Jen can speak more about line passes, but I'm very excited. The NSOP schedule will go live later on today. We are putting the finishing touches on it now, and our communications team is working on getting an email to students from Countdown to Columbia with instructions for how to download the app on your phone, where you can then search according to your cohort or your immersion experience and know exactly what the week will look like for you.
That's awesome. And then Jen, can you just speak again about the Lion Pass?
Yeah, sure. The Lion Pass will be available in the housing portal on August 23rd, and your student will receive an email once it is ready. It will, it's a digital, something digital that you can show the staff when you arrive here to campus that has your arrival, date and time, room information and building information. And again, we just suggest screenshotting it before you get to campus, just in case there's some lag in Wi-Fi once you're here.
Awesome. Looks like we have, Jen, you're going to be a busy person. We got several questions about move-in. So you mentioned that with Backdrop, there was a 2-person limit. Is that 2-person limit also for move-in day? And could people switch in and out if they needed to?
So the 2-person limit is for Backdrop specifically. And yes, you can switch out midday. The idea is for Backdrop to, it's really to drop off belongings. I know there was also a question about if you can set up the room when you're here. Yes, if you have some time, you can set up the room just as long as you vacate the building by 4 p.m. So that's fine. And then for check-in, if other family members want to join for check-in, they can, but it will be, just keep in mind that it will be pretty active. There will be a lot of people moving through the building on that day.
Sure. Thank you. I guess another question for Jen is about the elevators. I know you explained that the elevators are, you're not going to be able to use the elevators if you come back with additional things for Backdrop, but can you kind of talk about just the elevator service in general for move-in day?
Yeah, sure. So we have, as I mentioned earlier, we have a logistics company that is helping us with move-in. And so they are going to be in the elevators. The elevators are reserved for the vendor and also for belongings. So outside of that, we do ask that families take the stairs. And that is really to help so that it's a smooth move-in process. And we keep things moving. But I did see a question also about accessing the elevator should you need to. There will be staff in the lobby area. So if there is someone who needs the elevator, then that certainly is available for them.
Okay. And Jen, if someone has a Backdrop on Saturday, is there a specific time on Sunday they have to arrive to complete the process of check-in?
We sent an email to the students that have been approved for Backdrop and asked them to select a check-in time for Sunday. So if your student has not done that yet, they can still go into the portal and select that check-in time. This way we have an idea of when you will be coming back on Sunday to check in and pick up their Columbia ID.
Okay. It looks like several folks asked this question. Folks are coming from a long ways away. Some of them are, and they have shipped things to the school. If they ship items to the school between August 1st and 15th, how do we know that everything made it to the room?
Well, the mail team is working very hard to get as much delivered to rooms as possible. And so they are currently working on that process right now. If there is something in specific that you want to make sure that it arrived, you can reach out to us and we can connect with mail just to check on that for you. But they are working very diligently to get as much in rooms as possible.
And can you repeat the days that the mail center was closed? I think you said that in your presentation, right?
Yes, they are closed on Saturday and Sunday. So if there's anything that was shipped, like I said, they're working on bringing that to rooms ahead of time, but you want to make sure that you bring all essentials with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, and just a point of clarity, only students who are approved for bag drop can participate in bag drop.
Yes, we're not able to add any additional students to bag drop based off of the way that our vendor has designated who's able to check in. It's really based on how many people are moving in at the same time. So we just so that's why we needed to separate it the way that we did, and we're not able to add any additional folks at this time.
Sure. I know sometimes the family members and the parents will stay an extra day in New York City. Will it be possible for them to connect or deliver last minute needed things to the residence hall to their student on campus on Monday, August 28th?
So, I think that's a good question. And Marnie, you can maybe help us out a little bit with some of the scheduling pieces of it. Generally, yes, if you need to drop something off real quick or need to sort of give one last hug goodbye to your student, there will probably be time on Monday for that to happen. But one of the things that we really do want is to enable the students to spend time together in community, to spend time together in their sessions. And so we would ask that you sort of respect that, and as much as possible that your student be present and participatory with all the new student orientation events that are happening.
Yeah, to go more specific, I think if there is some time in the morning, we do have some specific community welcomes in the morning that your student may opt into if they're a part of those communities. But after lunch, all students will begin their immersion experiences. So they will no longer be on campus. They will be out in the city or out in the woods on co-op. So they will not be here after lunch. So if you are looking to stop by, you'll need to make arrangements with your student to do that pretty early in the morning and make sure it's in line with if there's any particular community welcomes that they want to attend in the morning.
Hey, thank you, Marnie. I know that some folks are going to be driving to campus and other folks are going to be taking public transportation. Matthew, can you talk a little bit about folks who are taking public transportation and maybe give some tips?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll put in the chat the directions to the Columbia University campus from the visitors page. A couple of quick things. One, there's also some really good apps you should put on your phone before you come to New York. The MTA, which is the Metropolitan Transit Authority, which governs our public transportation system in New York, is one that you should absolutely put on your phone, as well as either Google Maps or one of the other sort of preferred map apps. It will really help you navigate the city on public transportation. Columbia University is located on the 1 train at the 116th Street Columbia University stop. The subway actually opens up right in front of the gates to campus. We are also on several major city bus lines, including the M60 bus that goes direct to LaGuardia Airport. We are very, very well connected by public transportation, and I would encourage all of you, if you're not carrying lots of stuff, to consider using public transportation. Another great tip is if you use a mobile or cell or smartphone that enables you to add a credit or debit or transit card to your phone's wallet, you can actually pay for all of your public transportation expenses with a simple tap of your phone, and there's no need to take your wallet out to fumble with cash or Metro cards. So I really do encourage you to spend some time just reviewing the public transportation options. As Marty mentioned, students are going to be off into the city and they're going to be navigating the subway and different public transportation options. We're going to give them lots of good guidance and helpful tips to be safe and successful while doing it. The subway is the lifeline of the city, and it's how most of us get around all the time, and we want your students to feel comfortable doing it. The best way that you can trust your students to do that is to get on the subway yourselves and experience it. So as much as possible, we would encourage you to also consider public transportation.
That's awesome. Matthew, I know you and Stephanie live in the neighborhood. Could you, either one of you, talk briefly about the things that the last minute items that families and students may need, or maybe there's a bank that they need to set up a bank account. Is there any recommendations you can give to students and families when they get here on Broadway?
Yeah, absolutely. So Stephanie and I are neighbors. We are part of the Dean on Call team. We are on campus and in the neighborhood mostly 24/7, 365. I mean, we do have social life, of course, but we're here a lot. And the number one tip is you should all visit University Hardware. It's located right at 113th Street on Broadway, and that store is absolutely amazing. It is very possible that at the last minute you forgot something that you needed, or something doesn't fit, or you suddenly need to have something, and they will be an incredible store for you to visit, because they have literally just about anything, and if they don't have it, they can get it pretty quickly. But also less is more. I know we've talked about this during our previous webinars. Whatever you move in, ultimately you do have to move out. And so we'd encourage you to just be mindful of that and bring only what you need. Also remember that you don't need to bring everything right away. Things like winter clothes, you probably don't have to bring right away. If your student is traveling back home or you're coming at some other point in the semester, you can be mindful of what you're bringing. Things like banks, things like basic shopping, pharmacies. We are in New York City. We have incredible availability 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So any major national bank that you're looking for is in the neighborhood. We would encourage you, as you're thinking about things like banks or cell phones, to think about things that may be compatible with existing accounts that parents and family members may have. So if you are using a national bank or an international bank, see if there's a reciprocal relationship with one of the banks in our neighborhood. And things like cell phones, all of the major providers work well in our neighborhood. So there's lots of different choices and options that you have. I know many of you are thinking about how to open a bank account in the United States or get a cell phone in the United States for the first time, and you may need some documentation. In our student services online platform, students can request an enrollment verification. Usually that is more than sufficient as documentation that a student is enrolled to begin the process of applying for things like bank accounts and cell phones, which is often needed for documentation purposes in the United States. During the ISOP, the International Student Orientation Program and Welcome, we'll also review some of this in more detail, but take a look up and down Broadway, all throughout Morningside Heights and the Upper West Side, and chances are you can probably find what you're looking for.
Awesome. Thank you, Matthew. And thank you to all of our panelists. Unfortunately, we are out of time for additional questions, but if you still have questions that you want to ask, we want you to reach out, and you can email us at ugrad-family@columbia.edu or ugrad-studentlife@columbia.edu. A big thank you to our panelists and for you joining us today. We are super excited to see you on campus so soon. Take good care, everyone. Bye.